who are listening.
Stop.
And welcome to this week's Not Your Typical Girl Talk. If it is your first time joining us, thank you for joining us. And if it is your second or third or fourth or number of times, we welcome you back. So as usual, we are going to introduce ourselves in alphabetical order.
Hey, world. This is Garcia, and I am so happy to be on air with all of you today. Happy weekend to you.
Hey, y'all. This is Telly. I am so happy to be here with my sisters from Not Your Typical Girl Talk. If you don't know, now you know.
Hey. And I am the final member. My name is Toshiba. Thank you for joining us. If you're watching us online, thank you. And if you're listening to us on Radio Regent, thank you as well. Join us on all of our social media at Not Your Typical Girl Talk. We are on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. So, ladies,
Yes.
as you know, this is going to be a topic. I mean, every week with us is a topic, right?
The truth.
Every week we have something to say.
Yeah.
And usually in 99.9, as in 100% of the time, it's always needed to be said. So
yeah, this week, it's funny, just so you can know, Toshiba, we so our father, who is very supportive of, everything we do, he asked, so what's the show going to be about this week? And we were like, so the show's going to be about basically Black men and emotions, and how it's looked down upon for Black men to feel emotion. And he immediately was like, that is such a good topic. If you cannot see us, our father, Telly, and my father were sisters. He is a Black man. So it hit him in a major way, because this is something that is as old as time. This perception that Black men cannot exude emotion or illustrate how they feel, and having it be okay without being called out on it.
Yeah, they're constantly bullied or ridiculed, or something that has to be said if a Black man even sheds a tear. And the age that, as soon as a Black boy is born, they could be in like 5 years old, and they scrape their knee. You hear their mother or their father saying, "Oh, stop that, cut that out, stop crying. What are you crying for? You're a man up." It's like, no, you're not a man, you're two. And even as a man, you're allowed to show feelings. But society has built this thing where Black men are strong, Black men are tough, Black men carry everything, and they can do anything. They show zero emotion. And, it's gotten to a point where now a Black guy, even if they are feeling something, they'll just hold it close to the chest and just keep this explosion inside of them until it's too late, and then they just erupt.
And that's the crazy part, right? And you said the word, because that was the title of our show this week, was Man Up, Black men. The idea that we're even telling, like you said, little children, 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old, to man up. And my concern with that, I will tell you, is our Black children already lose their innocence at a very young age, because unfortunately we have to have conversations with them that are not occurring in white homes. Right. There are many conversations that are not, going on in white homes. Like, if you're in a car and stopped by a police officer, what you need to do. If you're walking down the street, maybe don't put a hood on. If you don't walk through certain neighborhoods. If it's late at night and a white lady's on that side of the street that you're on, cross the street. These are conversations that happen in our homes. So to think that they're carrying the weight of the world, and then when they come home, we don't allow them to feel.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's, you look at, I did hear, I'm not sure where I heard it, but, you mentioned the conversations that parents have to have with their young boys, especially if they're Black. And the conversation isn't about what university are you planning on applying to. It's not what's the part-time job do you plan on having this summer. It is make sure you're not wearing your hoodie.
Right.
Make sure that you say sir or ma'am after every sentence, because you don't want to be seen as a hooligan and you don't want to be thrown up against a car and arrested for speaking badly to a police officer. So we definitely we already have to struggle with this idea of being closed up with our emotions. You know, if a white young man, if a white boy is driving his motorcycle through the neighborhood and he's making noise and a neighbor tells him to stop it, he'll say, F you, Karen. And
Yeah.
and then
Karen.
you know,
Yeah.
he'll say F you, Karen, and then she will just complain by herself in the corner and he'll take off on his motorcycle. If it was a young black boy who was driving around the neighborhood on a motorcycle and she said, hey, you stop making noise. I'm so sorry, ma'am. And he has to go on a ma'am thing. She's going to call the police. The police are going to show up. They're going to be like, where did you get the bike? He's going to have to show ownership for the bike.
Yep.
They're going to be calling the parents. Parents are going to come down and show them that we live in this neighborhood. Are you sure you live in this neighborhood? Yeah, we live in this neighborhood. And it becomes a whole drama simply based on this idea that we have to keep ourselves in a certain circle of being complacent and just being like, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Whatever you say, please just don't hit me. Don't arrest me. Don't kill me.
Don't shoot me.
And
so,
go ahead, Shiva.
And then again, my concern is then when we perpetuate in our households this idea of man up, of don't show emotion, don't show anything. You know, I feel like it's one thing, like people are okay with anger. I find, you know, angry black women, angry black men. It's a label, right? Everybody seems to be okay with this idea of anger. But every other emotion should somehow not be expressed. And again, waking up black is hard enough.
Thank you.
You know, as a black woman, I know the things that I have gone through. I'm written a whole book about it, right? Like, and so if I take what I've experienced and then do it by the second power, I don't even think I'll be able to capture what black men deal with on a daily basis. And so I find that if, you know, if my husband, my fiance, my boyfriend, my father, my son has an issue and needs to express himself, man up isn't necessarily the thing that I'm going to say to them. And nor do I have to look at them a certain way because they've chosen to express themselves. And I want, you know, I want the listeners to even understand where this topic even came from. And unfortunately, I can't find the Facebook post, but I'll be able to kind of give them the layman's term. So I'm in a Facebook group, and the question of, you know, have men become soft came up. And within the comments, someone happened to put a conversation, which I had read to you ladies, and unfortunately I can't read it to the listeners, but the premise of the conversation was it was between a text conversation between a boyfriend and a girlfriend. They were clearly black. And basically the boyfriend was expressing to his girlfriend that his best friend of 20 years had been hit by a drunk driver and was now in the hospital on life support.
Right.
The girlfriend happened to be at a co-worker's baby shower. And so when she responds to him, he says, you know, I've been calling you. Are you still at the baby shower? She expresses it to him. Yes, she'll be home in 2 hours. He's explaining to her what has happened. She said basically has, you know, kind of almost like, did he die? And he's like, no, but he's on life support. And his sister has basically said, the way it looks, he's probably not going to come back and they may be taking him off of life support. And he expressed, the most important part is he expressed that he was in pain. He said he was feeling a little wheezy, he was in pain, and that he needed her. He just needed her to come home. Please leave the baby shower and come home. She goes to express that she'll be home in 2 hours. He should put like a hot cloth on him, eat something, lay down, he'll feel better. And he's saying to her, babe, like, I need you. Like, all of that is great, but you're at a coworker's baby shower. Like, I'm in pain right now. And he basically said to her, when your grandmother died, I was at a basketball tournament and I got on a flight, left the ball tournament, did not play, and came home because you needed me. And so she goes off on him on this. How dare you bring my grandmother in it, and you're being soft, and I don't know what's wrong with you, and all of this stuff. Like, I'll be home in 2 hours, all of this. And he just says, okay, cool, like, don't come. Actually, just come get your stuff because, you know, you're showing me the type of person you are. And she goes off on him until he says, I'm going to put your clothes outside. Then she decides she's coming home. So she says, okay, I'm coming to get my stuff right now. And he was like, so when I told you I was in pain, you weren't coming home. Her response was, well, my stuff is expensive. Okay. And that goes on for a little bit. Now, if that wasn't bad enough, because my response to that post was, my boyfriend, fiance, husband, uncle, whoever would never have had to express to me that they were even in pain. I hear best friend, friend of, number of, on life support. I'm sorry, Garcia, no, it's your baby shower, but I gotta go.
And I would totally understand.
Such and such.
Understand that.
Right? I'm in my car. Before he could even ask me to leave, I'm in my car.
Exactly.
Right? So that I just thought would have been a typical response. Well, I was wrong. I was in the minority. The majority of women were saying, this is what's going on with Black men in today's community. They're becoming soft. Like, what kind of thing is that? He's manipulating her. Like, it's not even a family member. The guy's not even dead yet. And I was like, what? What?
And you know what, too? That feeds into the angry Black female as well. And it shows us the selfishness in this relationship, because she's obviously very selfish.
Very.
This is my thing. And this is, you know, I know we're out here and Black Lives Matter, definitely, but Black emotions also matter. And the thing is that, unfortunately, I'm going to pull Kenya Barris, because of slavery, we have been muted. We've been muted to only show two emotions: anger, and it's not really an emotion, but more like selfishness. You know what I mean? Those are the two things that we're out of balance when it comes to our emotions in this way. Severely, because if you're not angry, then you're not strong. That's what we have in our minds. That's what has been programmed, that, well, if you aren't strong enough to be okay with your friend being on life support and probably dying tonight, then you're not man enough to be my future husband. That's basically what she said through her actions.
That's disgusting.
And she said, well, my emotions matter, yours don't.
She also said that her stuff matters.
Right. And that's where the selfish part came in,
she decided to run and grab her designer stuff.
Right.
And, you know, it's just disgusting. Like, her trying to find excuses to justify herself to be at this coworker, not even to say her friend, it's a coworker. This company could fire her ass like tomorrow. And she's there supporting this coworker who probably doesn't even like her, but invited her because she probably invited the entire office. Yeah. And the fact that she's telling him, you know, put a towel on your head. He doesn't have the flu. He's in pain. His feelings are, like, his best friend's gonna check out. And your advice to him is to put a hot towel on his head. The chick is a bitch. Point blank.
Period. All of that. But what bothered me is there was enough bitches in the comment section. You know what I'm saying?
That's the scary part. She has an army.
You know what? And maybe it has to do with this simple fact. Lately, you know, and this year, I don't know if it's because of, you know, the signs of the times, you know, with, you know, Black people are really on the front page right now, finally, with how we do behave and how we do feel.
Right.
And the thing is that in a way, society has pitted, to some extent, pitted Black women against Black men.
Oh yeah.
In ways that we aren't
Hallelujah.
even sure, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we are told this is how Black men feel about Black women. Oh, this Black, I don't know, you have Tyrese, you have ASAP Rocky, you know, famous Black men who are very quick to say things about Black women and beauty and how they handle, you know, what they do to their bodies, what they do to their own faces, whatever they do. And the media loves to push these stories up.
Yep.
They love to put those out there. So therefore, we now have this idea of, how dare this Black man come and tell me that I need to come? Who does he think he is? And then this angry Black woman thing. Housewives of
Housewives of Potomac,
yes, of your favorite
Atlanta,
girls starts to come out because it's glamorized that Black women are angry and all we care about is our designer handbags and our hair.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny. It's funny when you're there watching, you know, your favorite network and you're watching, you know, Nene Leakes and all of these girls, but if you delve a bit deeper, it's not funny at all.
No.
The idea that we've taken this angry Black female thing so much that now we're putting it on our own. It's very,
especially our children. You know what I'm saying? Because here, you know what was even funnier was someone said in the comment, and this was even like a separate conversation. This was another Facebook discussion of, you know, someone's talking about, you know, a man should lead. You know, a man should be that. Again, it's in clearly a ton of Black groups, right? I'm Black. So basically that a man should lead. And one comment struck out to me where, you know, a girl said, well, they leave us to raise them and now they expect us to make them, have them lead us. I don't think so. And I was just like,
see, and that's bad programming.
Yep.
And in her life, I don't know who she is, but in her life, that's how it's always going to be. That's how a Black man, she's projecting that. So it's always going to come back to her that Black men can't lead. That's in her head, which is very unfortunate. And I do hope that one day she changes her mind, because
normalize therapy, Black people. Normalize therapy. I'm going to say that almost every
normalize,
show. Please normalize therapy.
Black families, normalize present fathers.
That's it.
Normalize all of these things, you know, in the Black community. And this idea that we keep on, I'm Black, just to remind everyone. I'm going to sound like one of these white people when I say, can we stop looking at the past in that way? And instead of talking about the past, how are we going to change the outcome? Right? Now, you had a bad experience maybe with a Black male as being a baby daddy or a father to your child, but you can change that.
That's it.
You can change that. It doesn't have to be that way. The story doesn't have to be that way. You can have a great relationship as a Black woman with a Black man.
Yep.
And you should say that and try to internalize that. Don't sit here and say, well, it would never work with me and a Black man because Black men don't know how to lead. And why should I allow him to lead when he can't even be here? And it's just like, okay, you know what? You need to stop.
Okay.
And it's the narrative. It's so far reaching now. And like you said, you know, we live in a media world. You know, before, you know, sometimes there wasn't a 24/7 news cycle. We're all old enough to remember when news came on at certain times at night as the only time we want news. Now it's a 24/7 news cycle, and constantly, and especially now through social media where articles are popping up and things are happening, and something happens in one part of the world and in an hour and it's in every other parts of the world. And these narratives that keep coming up about Black men have been so negative that I cry for us as a community if we continue to, within our community, perpetuate some of these things. And now, you know, again, like you said, in the eyes of Kenya Barris, we are enslaving ourselves, right?
Yeah.
If we go back to slavery, we're now, a lot of us are now in charge of enslaving ourselves, but still blaming the white man for some of the actions. No, it ain't him no more, it's you. If your son can't come home and tell you that he had a bad day, and you, without you calling him a sissy and telling him to man up, that's a problem. If your man can't say, I'm in pain because, listen, as a Black man, the world keeps slashing me every time I go out there, and she can't say to you, babe, let me heal your wounds. She's saying, get your ass back out there, get some more scientists. That's a problem.
She's going on as if you're back in the gladiator days, and they just like kind of push you to go fight when you're missing an arm and you're like battered to the pulp, and it's still telling you to go fight anyway. And that's really disgusting and discouraging.
Listen, Black mental health matters too. And we have to fix ourselves so our children can be fixed. You know?
Oh, girl, talk about it.
Because again, we were talking about young men, you know, that are going through it. I've always found RuPaul very fascinating, because, you know, RuPaul, as a Black man, eventually had to say one day, look, I'm really good at this drag queen thing, and, you know, I can make a living from this. And, you know, when you read the stories of Black men that are perhaps ballerinas, or, you know, they could be makeup artists, hairstyle, all of these things. Even when a Black man chooses a certain job and they're good at it, people are out here, the first thing they're like, oh, yep, you know that already, you know this already, and you know, and blah blah blah, and oh, what a girl,
you're too feminine, and,
right. And then again, what is wrong with being feminine? What is wrong with that? But anyway, that's another topic for another show.
You know what's so funny is that when you talk about hairstylists, because a number of my hairstylists have been Black men.
One of the best ones I ever had.
World renowned.
Straight Black men.
Straight.
We will, you know, again, because Black women, we are the largest consumers in the beauty industry, right? Like a lot of these companies would not exist. This is why they are so mad at Rihanna when Rihanna came to the scene and brought Fenty, because she was taking away Black dollars, because we are the largest consumers of everything. So we won't balk at going and buying a Paul Mitchell product and question why Paul Mitchell, a white man, is a stylist, but we will look down and not necessarily support Black men, because, you know, I said to you the other day, as much as there is toxic masculinity, there is toxic femininity in the Black community.
Oh,
girl, yes, 1,000%.
Listen, a lot of Black females are misogynistic.
Yep, a lot
of them. And I have told women in their face before, I'm like, you're being very misogynistic right now with that thought. And they're like, excuse me? I'm like, yes. Misogyny is not just for men. No, women too, it goes both ways. Can be misogynistic, can be bigots.
Yeah.
Let's not just sit here. I know that it's very easy to talk about, oh, that man and that man, but in order,
goes both ways.
Yeah, in order for this to work, in order for us to eventually one day get to a place of balance, everybody's got their part to play.
Thank you. There, you know, we always love to say, like, you know, there's deadbeat fathers. You don't think there's no deadbeat mothers? You know, all moms are Mary Poppins. Okay. Plenty. Girl, there are plenty of deadbeat moms.
And until girl, listen, and until we acknowledge, like, this idea of casting a blind eye and always blaming, we also have to take accountability for the part that we play in creating men who are too hard for their own good. Black male suicide rates are rising, not declining. Black male suicide rates are rising, and people are going, why? What is happening? Because when they come home, their women told them to man up, they shouldn't cry, even though the world has literally taken them out, put them behind a squad car, and drag them all the way home, and they've got the bruises to show.
Okay.
You know,
all of that.
And,
wow.
You know, I remember when everything went down with George Floyd this year,
mm-hmm.
and one of my friends called me, and he is a Black male, and he's like very handsome and into fashion, and women love him, and he knows it. So he's one of these guys that knows he's good looking, and he always walks with so much pride. You know, like nothing can take him down. And I always said that if I was going to be a man, I'd want to be you, like, because you are what I would like to be. And he always laughs. He's tall, good looking, sweetest guy. And he called me, and when I said hi, it was like, hey, Carsey, I just wanted to check in on you. Like, you know, this has been a hard week for us, and I just wanted to check in. And I said, you know what? How are you doing? I want to talk about how you are feeling, because you're a Black male, and you know, this is about you. We don't need to talk about me. I want to hear what you're feeling.
Yeah.
If you want to cry, if you want to scream, do it. I'm here to hold a safe space. I'm not going to make an opinion. I'm not going to tell you what you should think or how you should feel. Feel any damn way you want to feel, and you feel comfortable to do it here on this phone right now. And he just talked, and, you know, the tears were coming, and he's just like, thank you so much for, and we were on the phone for a long time, and it was the summer. So I was sitting outside and just, you know, on the phone with him. And it honestly was a beautiful moment for me, because I don't see Black men cry often. I don't. I've seen my father cry a few times, but our father is emotional, and he allows himself to be, which I think why he is such a, you know, an interesting man, because he grew up with a lot of female influence in his life. His grandmother was the most important person to him in his life. And even though him and his mother had a strained relationship, after he got older, him and his mom started to have a great relationship, and he loved his mom as an adult. And I think that when a man is free, and that word free is so important, right?
It is.
When a man is free to feel the feelings in the same way that I am, you know, if I burst out crying in the middle of an office, people aren't going to be like, oh, man up. They're not going to say that. They're going to be like, honey, do you want some Kleenex? Do you want me here? Do you want me to take you to the ladies' room? Do you want some tea? Why aren't we doing that for Black men? Why aren't we offering them tea? Why aren't we
out there taking lashes left, right, center?
Why aren't we giving them the space, you know, to show their emotion, and not just anger, because again, society loves to see us angry.
They sure do.
I'll never forget, and this was years and years and years and years ago, but I remember it when LeBron James and Giselle Bundchen
Hardy.
They were on the cover of some magazine. It could have been Vogue or GQ, but it was like People of the Year. And Giselle is from Brazil.
Yes, she's a tall
Brazilian
supermodel.
And they had her on the cover, and she was just being her feminine self. And then they had LeBron, who had a basketball, and he was,
I think he was holding her up.
Or was he holding her up?
He was holding her,
anyway,
and he had a basketball in the other hand.
It kind of just looked like King Kong saving the young female. And people were angry. They said, why are we depicting LeBron James as a monster?
Yeah.
Like, and to me, it brought up a lot of emotions, because I thought, so this is what we want Black men to be. We want them to be angry, so we can make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Because people are out here making a lot of money off LeBron.
A lot.
Okay? Yeah. A lot. LeBron isn't no, LeBron makes a lot of money, but when you see how much the people above him are making,
the men in suits are making a hell of a lot.
LeBron ain't making much. That's why he's been asking for respect, y'all.
Because he's not getting it.
He's not truly getting it when you look at compensation.
He's definitely not getting paid for it.
But, you know, this idea of we got to keep him angry so we can make money is also a thing. You know, again, the black female being angry, the black male being tough and not showing any tears,
no emotion, and
no emotions. They don't cry.
Even when a black man voices their opinion, because you reminded me of you talking about LeBron. I don't know if it was LeBron. I think it was LeBron as well, and he was saying something either about Breonna Taylor or about George Floyd, and one of his white superiors or just said, "No, shut up and play ball." That's what we're paying you to do.
45. Okay, that was Agent Orange.
40.
Who told us?
Agent Orange.
So
King Cheeto.
Right. And, you know,
once again, shutting down someone's emotions.
Colin
Kaepernick,
when he decided to show some emotion by silent protesting, it was a problem. And we have to, not only in the black community, but in the society's whole, we have to be okay with black men not being what we picture in our heads.
Exactly.
I know that we see King T'Challa. I know we see
but people forget
LeBron.
that it's a movie.
You know what I mean? I know, but this is the thing, right? Like, we are truly seen as something. People already have a perception of what a black person is.
Oh, yeah.
And when a black person comes and they're not it, they're like, what a sissy. Or she's kind of
weakling.
She's kind of weak.
Yep.
Oh, I could step all over her.
Because you're not that strong black woman or strong black man that they perceive in their mind that you are.
And, you know, for people that, because remember how, and it was disturbing regardless, but, you know, we had George Floyd, who his last few moments on this earth, he showed every single emotion that he had probably not been able to show in his life.
Exactly. He was suppressed. And he was finally, although sadly he was dying, but the fact that he was calling for his mother.
Right. He wasn't allowed to call for his mother a week before, trust and believe. And when I bring it down to that, I know it's very sad and very morbid, but think of it in that way. Think of that and then think of all the black men in your life, your uncles, your husbands, your fiancés, your boyfriends, your brother, your best friend, whoever the black male is in your life. Is that when they're going to be able to show emotion?
It's really sad.
When they're on their deathbed.
That and this is the problem, I think. Like, you know what? I agree with you. Yes, the world as a whole should see black men as human, right? Because emotions are simply human.
That's it.
Emotions doesn't have a race. And so unfortunately, because we're not seen as human, especially black men out there in the world, it's okay to have LeBron looking like King Kong on, you know what I'm saying, the front of a publication as he carries the white damsel in distress, right?
Right.
We almost expect something like that. My issue, and I'm gonna keep repeating it, bring it back, is why do we continue to perpetuate it in our own homes? If my partner cannot come home and be vulnerable with me, and I'm going to, what you did for your friend Garcia is you held space for him.
Yeah.
Yep.
You held space
and
for him, allowed him to express himself in whatever way in that moment he needs to express himself, because millions of people around the world cried. We cry. I know I cried, my daughter cried, like people were just crying. And themselves in George Floyd are not going to be affected by a man calling out for his mother. He's got a knee on his neck, which is a symbol for black men in this world because they have a knee on their neck. And then they come home and their partner, especially when that partner is a black woman, looks at them and says, "Man up. Come on, we got to do better."
Yeah, right. No, and we got to do better. We have to take on the role of, and I know that, and maybe this might be controversial, but we kind of have to take on the role as the nurturer. Because guess what?
That's what we are.
Women are good at it. I'm sorry, y'all. I know that
we are.
feminism is probably, there's so many different forms of feminism that are saying different things. But at the end of the day, God did a really good job at making women good nurturers.
That's what we do.
That's why we have babies. That's why we are the ones like, and honestly, I talk about that again in my book. Like, there are times I say things, I'm like, please send the feminist brigade for me, right? I'm like, I'm ready. I was built for this, because some of these things and these roles that we're now playing, because we're running around in masculine energy. And our pheromones, like, and I talked about on Law Show, are like rape, and we're repelling the people around us. Nobody wants to deal with a woman who is entrenched in masculine energy. And if you are looking at your partner and you can't give them a moment, I don't care if he needs to lay on my lap and watch basketball.
Whatever happens.
And
whatever he needs.
Dude, the idea that some woman gets a text message that her boyfriend of 2 years, best friend, is on life support, and there was no real emotional reaction to that, he just wasted 2 years of his life, because there's absolutely no way on God's green heaven and earth am I ever going to be in a position where I hear that and I'm not expecting that my man is going to feel something.
That's it.
In that moment, he probably sees him. It could have been him.
That's it. That's it right
All
there.
Of that.
And I want to hold that thought. I just want to say for a second that I want to thank Radio Regent again for having Not Your Typical Girl Talk broadcast on their amazing station. Thank you to all the followers that have been listening on Radio Regent, syndicated through iHeart Canada. And guys, continue to share the links, continue to share our Instagram with your friends. We want everybody to get on the Not Your Typical Girl Talk train, because it's pretty cool on here. Choo, choo, choo. And with that, yes, Toshiba, you brought up a point there in which, you know, that idea of space and just creating this space for men as well. I know right now, even in the world of mindset and wellness, it's very much based in more female, you know, energy. And the thing is that it's there for men too. It's not just for one sex. It's not just for one sector. It is for everyone. It is inclusive. And men should be allowed to say, hey, I need to go meditate. Hey,
should be allowed.
I need to go lie down and take a break. Hey, I need you to just sit here and listen to me. Have no opinion of what I'm saying.
That's it.
just be here to listen.
Just listen.
I'm going to scream. I'm going to cry. I might smash the vase. But whatever I do, I just need you to be here so I know that you're here holding space for me.
That's it.
That's it.
That's all that they need.
Yeah, we don't have to make a fight out of everything.
No.
The one thing with this woman, when she got this text from her boyfriend, her first response should have been like, are you okay? I am so sorry about what happened. Imagine how the conversation would have been different if that's what she responded with.
Oh, this wouldn't even be a conversation.
This wouldn't even be on Facebook.
This wouldn't even be on Facebook. No one would have ever heard about it. Because that's how she should have done.
She could have started holding space for him from the very moment he sent her the text.
No, she wasn't holding space until she held space for her clothes.
She held
girl.
space for her clothes.
She said for that.
My was expensive. And he was like, so now I tell you I'm putting your clothes out and you're ready to leave the baby shower that you needed to stay at for another 2 hours to come get your clothes.
Wow. And loves to clean.
Loves you, who appreciates you. You couldn't, and I'm telling you that is something that people need to. I was having a conversation, recently, and I was explaining to the person, because I'm like, there's a difference between somebody checking in or checking up on you and somebody actually holding space for you.
True.
The moment people know the difference, they will be better people for the people in their lives.
Yes.
Right?
So true.
Sending me a text and saying, hey girl, how you doing? Great. And I give you my little answer is checking up on me. You knowing if I call you more than once and you see that number popping up, you need to hold space for me because I need you at that moment.
That's it.
Tell me, the person who's telling me, oh, I'm sorry, I gotta do this and I gotta do that, but girl, be quick. You're not holding space for me.
Be quick.
You know you've had to, oh, can you be quick? Right? my phone. In the middle of meetings, if I see certain numbers on my phone, I'm like, oh, give me a second. You know, it's the Zoom world. Everything can go on mute these days. So
all of that.
But I want to pick this up, everything good. And if they need you to hold space, you send a quick message to someone, be like, to your boss, whomever, and if you are the boss, hey everyone, I just need to take, because somebody needs you to hold space. Or you say to that person, can you give me 20 minutes, let me wrap this up, because I want to hold space for you. We need to hold space for the people in our lives. And sometimes people question why people don't want to stay in their lives. Black people are around here saying, I can't get in a relationship. Black men aren't committed. Well, I'm here to tell you, yes, they do.
They commit.
They commit quite.
They commit to the woman that's right for them.
That's it.
Every man,
will
whether they are BIPOC or
whoever
Caucasian,
they are,
as whatever it is, they will be there for the woman that is right for them.
They're there for the ones that are there for them.
Exactly. And
you show no interest.
Exactly.
Because so why should the man be hanging on to you for?
Guess what? As much as we are of different nationalities, we at the bottom of it all, at the center of it all, we all carry the same emotions.
That's it.
So that woman that told her man that she can't come home from the baby shower, even if she goes into a relationship with a white guy, she's going to do the same thing. And the white guy's going to put her stuff on the curb the same way.
And hopefully someone this time will steal her stuff.
Because at the end of it all, what men are looking for is a woman that's going to be there to love them, to show that they care about them through actions. And one great action, which is cheap, and so it's funny, we're out here ready to spend $3,000 on handbags for each other and wallets, but when it comes time to doing things that are free, like sitting down and listening, we ain't got time for it.
No, but you got time to run up your credit card though.
Girl, listen.
Okay. A simple action of just sitting and listening, a simple action of just communicating, like you said, which is free of charge.
Free.
No one wants to do that.
Nothing.
But they want to go and show everyone, look at the handbag I got my man, or the wallet I got my man. Look at the car I got my lady. Look, that's great, but that person's still going to commit suicide because the one thing they did need was just someone to listen. Just someone to say, hey, are you all right? Do you know how many times, actually, I'm sure we've all been through this, when you have something that's bottled up so deep inside, but once again, you don't want to say anything because you don't want to be a burden. And all you need to do is just feel someone do this and say, are you out? And for me, the tears are already coming out of my eyes.
Because you can release.
Because I'm like, oh my God, finally I've been dying to talk to
somebody. Support you. Someone is there to support you. Then you're like, I can finally let this go, and tears are going to fall.
And that to me is way more valuable than a stupid car and a damn handbag. And another stupid wallet.
Okay.
That part.
Great.
Okay.
Now, here's the thing. It is as simple as being present. Being present means your phone is on.
Okay.
Yeah. So that you are looking, being there with that person. Listen, most people aren't out here trying to cure cancer. And even people who are trying to cure cancer, they've got time for the people in their life.
Girl,
okay.
Right.
Obama had new codes, but I'm sure when Michelle needed him, he found a way to be there for her. So they are too busy, okay, to be there for their partner, to be present. And, holding space, you can't hold space if you're not completely present with the person. Like you said, it costs $0. And in this age of COVID, where people are already financially struggling, and I understand that everything's going on, something that costs $0 is so valuable. Giving myself to my partner, because the thing about it is, my concern with what I'm seeing happening is a Black woman would find it completely unacceptable for her Black man not to be there for her when she was in pain, because it, as Black women, it's also very hard for us to exhibit vulnerability.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? It's really difficult. So when we are doing that, imagine that is reversed. Imagine those same people in that Facebook group I'm in. This was a conversation between a Black man and a Black woman, and she turned around and said, sorry, babe, go drink some soup and whatever. Me and my boys are out here playing ball. I'll come in 2 hours.
See, it would be different.
Exactly that.
And this is the thing.
Exactly that.
As Black females, we have to stop looking at Black men as if they are the enemy or we're in competition with them. Or
That's
something.
it.
Oh, we're the better Black ones
because
we're the leaders in starting businesses these days, and we're not in jail as much as you all, so we're better than you. We do have there is a struggle and a fight between the male and female in Black communities.
Definitely.
I mean, there is.
Definitely.
There is. And the problem that's happening is there is now becoming such a division. We don't even know who we're at war with it.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's true.
We're honestly at war with ourselves. Like we don't even, like before we were all, fighting for equality, fighting for rights. Now we're fighting with,
we are fighting with ourselves.
I'm not light enough. I'm not dark enough. I'm not this enough. I'm not that enough. My man why isn't that Black man like me? Why is he always after white women? Like everything.
Right. And this is what I call distractions, right? Jesus. Like we are very much all about, let's do this, let's do that.
Yeah.
But maybe we need to start at the center, which is ourselves. How do you look at yourself? And why is it when you look at someone that looks like you, why is it the first thought a negative one?
Right.
Maybe that's not such a good thing, right? But no one is doing that. People are just like, oh, well, how these guys are, how those women are. And it's like, wait a minute, that's not the sort of dialogue we need to be.
And listen, Linda, I'm going to say something that's completely controversial, and I'm okay with that because that's the name of the game. Too many Black women are trying to fight for seats at table that people don't want us at, that they're too busy doing that to take care of their family and their men. Like, I'm sorry. Right?
Good,
out here talking about we got to put in this and get a seat at the table, and now if they don't give us a seat at the table, we'll make our own and pull up a lawn chair. Girl, bye. All of that is in shambles, and you're talking about fighting for seats at the table that bars keep getting higher for you because they don't want you at the table. Like, nah, like, I'm sorry. Like, it's all great. Being a career, we've all been there. But the reality is we're out here fighting and battling our men to appease people who don't want us at tables in seats that they are at.
Exactly.
Like, I have to tell you, reading a book this week, and I'm not even going to mention the name of the book. I'm so irritated I can't even promote it. But it was written for Black women to how to get a seat at the table, this coveted seat at the table that we're apparently all looking for. And she gives some advice, and some of them are very valid, like, learning how to network. We talk about that.
Right.
Creating social capital, which is basically, essentially making sure that you're meeting the right people who can open doors for you. Right.
Right.
All of that. But she said one thing that made my blood boil like a hot soup on a Sunday summer day. We talked about the fact that she changed her name so that it could be more pleasing for white people to say. And her recommendation to Black women in this book, they have a name that is ethnic sounding. They may want to consider shortening it or putting a name that when they put on their resumes, that they'll get through the door, and that once they're in the door, it will be more pleasing to white people.
So see, it's things like that that help the theory that we aren't good enough.
So we have to change our names to Samantha. Mary.
And you know what?
Cindy.
Like for all the black women out there,
are those names more appealing?
All the black women out there that are reading whatever book this is and have that mindset.
Throw in the fireplace.
Yes, change it.
Watch that shit burn.
Listen, Curcia is not it's not a popular name. I've
but
only met one other person that has the name, and I gave permission for someone to use it as a middle name for their child with a K. But as someone that has a weird name, don't be changing your name. Because not to toot my horn, but I've done very well and I've been very successful using my ethnic sounding name.
What's wrong with like your name? Your name is so like, you know, sacred. There's a reason why your parents give you a certain name. And it's really disgusting that a black woman is telling people, yo, maybe you might want to change your name so it doesn't sound so ethnic. That way people can pronounce it better. It's like, look, if you get called for the interview, they're going to see that you're black anyway. So also, then what? I want you to paint your skin white? Is that her next step?
Also, I know it's not true because I have, and all three of us know many Nigerian women that have their original names, and some of them are CEOs, and directors in companies with their ethnic sounding names being from Nigeria, and they're doing quite well. So this that is ridiculous.
Needs to check this book.
That's just actually a form.
Take a book out of it. Yeah.
No, and I bring that up to say our focus has been so much about trying to fit into a world that may not want us, that we're neglecting the very people within our world that are embracing us and telling them, I don't have time to make space for you, so you need to go figure out your ish on your own. Sorry, father, brother, son, uncle, fiance, boyfriend, man who gives me my whole world. When I need him, I don't have time for you because I'm out here trying to get seats at tables and do all kinds. Like, do you
getting the tables and changing my name?
Girl.
Sends is so tremendous. So I'm sorry if you are one of those women and you're listening. Do not be surprised when you don't have a man, can't find a man. A man ain't coming nowhere near you.
Girl.
I don't blame that man. I say, yo, man, run like hell and don't look back, because that chick is not the one.
Like that's that's not conducive to a healthy family relationship and or community. And sometimes we are all we got. And so if we don't even have each other,
then what do we have?
If black men don't even have black women, come on. You know, there was an example I gave to my boyfriend the other day, and it saddened me to even think about, but think about in slavery, when black men were the ones getting whipped.
Yes.
Whipped. They were being left with holes in their back from the whips of the slave owners. And these men were getting whipped, not because they were weak, but because they were protecting everybody else that was picking that cotton, or protecting their family, or protecting their kids. Did their wives turn around and say, sorry, I'm not going to put this on your back. I'm not going to clean up your wound because I thought you were too weak because you were out there getting slashes by the white man? Do we understand that even though we are, and I'm putting this in quotation, free, black men are still out there getting slashes by the white man?
Okay. All of that.
And this is why it's so important to know that the battle starts at home. It starts within the family.
Yep.
It starts with you showing love to your black family, to your black husband, to your black children. I know that it looks really cool on social media to be marching in a BLM protest right now, but guess what? That's not actually where the fight begins. The fight begins in every black home.
That's it.
On this universe. That's where the battle begins. The
first thing is just the surface.
That is just the surface. That is the aftermath of building your family up to know that we have to be here together, because nobody's going to accept anybody until we accept ourselves.
Okay.
And this is what I keep on saying. I'm like, listen, until we're all ready to accept each other,
nothing's going to change.
Don't blame the Karens or the Collins, whatever you want to call them out there, Carl or whatever.
Whomever.
I and whatever. It's not their responsibility for us to figure it out.
No.
We've got to figure it out for ourselves so that they can see, oh, okay, these guys got it together.
Thank you.
But that's my final thought.
Yeah, my takeaway is and see, that's my final thought. And you know what? Yeah, I can't agree with you more. I guess, yeah, my takeaway is that, you know, don't hate on men, especially the Black male community. And it's okay to show emotions. And I feel that, like you were saying, it starts in the home. Parents need to stop telling their little boys so that, you know, don't cry. Don't suck it up. Man up. First of all, don't tell your kid. We've talked about this before on our show. How some parents tell their little kids to man up, or tell their little girls stop crying, or, you know, grown women don't cry. These kids they're kids. They're not grown. And it's okay as an adult to cry. I know that for us, I know we're women, but for us, if we haven't cried, the three of us wouldn't even be here. Crying is so important and healthy.
Literally,
so if your man wants to bawl his eyes out, be that woman and just hold him. That's it. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to do anything.
Hold a box of Kleenex.
That's it. Hold a box of Kleenex, get the tea ready or whatever beverage he prefers, or he or she is done with their tears, and just be there for them.
Pour the gin.
That's it. Be there. Pour that gin, pour that scotch, get the Ray and nephew, do what you gotta do to comfort them. That's what they need.
I love that. And it's just so much to say about this, but like, be the type of person you want others to be to you.
Love that.
I don't know that I can say. If I have the expectation that my boyfriend is supposed to be there for me, I should in turn know how to be there for them. And let me add to that. You also need to learn how to be there for someone.
That's important.
Else.
Yes.
Like the way he's there for me isn't necessarily the same way he wants me there for him. Learn your partner's love language. Learn how to be there for the people in your life. Learn how to show up and make space and be present for people. Because imagine if we lived in a world where it's all just about me. Oh, be there for me, but when I got time for you, sorry, honey. You know, that baby shower. Remember,
gonna end up lonely.
Right? Like,
girl.
It's crazy to think that we can make these complaints about our men, but then we don't act in accordance in a way that would make that man want to stay around. And then we complain that they don't stay around, that we've not given them a reason to stay around. I'm going to say this, and if you've heard our show again, the words of my very wise boyfriend. Are you worth someone's best?
That's it.
Unless you can answer that question affirmatively, yes, that is the reason you are in the situation you are in. If you are not worth someone's best because you've shown them that they cannot just be human with you, you're not worth someone's best.
You're not.
So tell me. With you.
Girl, I hate when it's time to end. That's the only thing. But anyway, thank you so much, everyone, for listening. We want to give a huge shout out and thank you to Radio Regent, this amazing platform they've given us to speak our truths and to talk about these amazing topics, syndicated through iHeartRadio Canada. And like we said before throughout our show, follow us on all of our social medias under @NotYourTypicalGirlTalk. We got Karsia, Telly, Toshiba. Thank you guys so much for listening and for watching. Oh, and watch our playbacks on our IG account. Yeah. You trust us. You got to see us live. You got to see us because our facial expression. we're live. We are live.
Listen, we are giving a whole life over here. And the fact that I was just about to sing, I'm going to save people. So I'm just going to stay over here and dance it out because hold on. I ain't gonna do it. Thank you everyone for watching, for listening. What are we talking about next week? I know we talk about something else important, so join us. I remember what it is.
We already do.
We're gonna be talking about.
We do have it. I just don't remember. But whatever it is, it's gonna be awesome.
Yes. Real important.
It's gonna be awesome.
Join us. Have a great week, everyone. We will see you and listen and all of that stuff next week. Bye.
Bye.